A number of days ago I went through this area here at the main Edible Acres site to prune back some older wild apple trees. I can link here to the video where I discussed the idea of cutting this one tree to create a multi-graft scenario. And I'm going to link here to where I talk about taking all of these prunings from those two apple trees and this apple, and instead of either turning them into charcoal or weaving them into a woven wall, kind of leaving them as debris in areas where I know I want to have production later. The theory was, I've seen it in the past, where rabbits and deer are attracted to this late winter and eat like crazy, and it's working. So pretty much every single one of these tips have been chewed off by deer in the last 10-15 days, and it's become a huge magnet in here for them, so much so that even if you don't have a trained eye for tracking deer, you can see this incredible rut, this track. In fact, every few inches are big happy piles of poop in some of these walkways. Here's some more. It's all throughout here, and these deer have trampled the walkway so much that you'd almost think we're in a barnyard, but we are literally in the middle of the woods. And the deer are working it over, and the rabbits are working it over. When I see slices like this, it looks like a pruning cut. That sort of prune-looking cut indicates to me that that's rabbit browse. So that's a good example again. And then these frayed tips tell me it's deer. So it's one way to know whether or not you're dealing with rabbits or deer, is to look at the quality of the chewing. So like here's some more deer browse. You can imagine their bigger chiclet-style teeth crunching down on this, and the rabbits with their little pruning shear teeth cutting on that. But pretty much everywhere that this is laid out, they've been spending time in here. So not only is it bringing fertility in, it's helping to focus their energy, give them a little break from a stressful long winter. I'm seeing down in here where it's debarked underneath all this. This is most likely mice and voles that are doing that are living in these piles. Basically a young hugel mound, you're pretty much guaranteed to get mice, voles, chipmunks, that sort of thing. And so rather than planting it out to high value trees, I'm acknowledging that these will come off once I'm ready to seed this. And for this first season, I'll probably do annuals, which are low risk, and I don't really need to see them work incredibly well to feel good about it. They can falter and fail, but you know, like a $20 or $30 grafted tree I won't put in these new mounds. But all throughout, browse, browse, browse. One thing I'll say is that this second tree where I'm getting ready to do this multi-graft project, again, you can look back at that video. I'm waiting for the new growth. I'll manage that this year and then graft over next year. In this case, there was just so much material that I ended up converting most of it into charcoal. I'll link here to where I discussed a few years ago these portable kilns. They work pretty nicely. But what I want to do just very briefly is show, so not only are they coming in like crazy and eating here, but if I follow back their pathway, kind of see how crazy it is. There's a group of about 5 deer that I know of. It's a little clan. Looks like it's mainly does and their yearlings. I don't really see any tracks of bucks, although I see a sign of buck here or there where they rub on trees. There's more vole or rabbit browse, but it gets so tracked. I should set up a game camera back here and actually see what's going on. I would guess these deer, this group of 5 deer, are coming here every day a few times. In fact, here's their main highway. So it's going to benefit me to think about putting high fertility demanding plants along the side of this, but then also being really aware that I need to defend those plants pretty heavily this spring if I'm going to plant into it. And I talk a lot about in another video about my living wall design. You can see there's a whole lot of living wall on the southern end of our property here. And in that video I talk about the idea of leaving breaks in the wall to focus the traffic of the larger browsing animals. And I think this is a great example. That little break right there is the access portal I use. It's next to an old apple that gets me onto the neighbor's side to manage their hedgerow. And that is where all the deer are coming. Right through there. So if I wanted to set up shop to hunt, if I needed to, I know where to do it. I can listen for the birds yelling about something off in the south, and that will give me a good indication that deer are there. And most likely they're going to come through this hole, head northbound. I'm almost 100% assured that they're going to follow that track, and they're going to go to where all that food is, which is an open glade where I want production. So for now, I love the idea of them just enjoying having a nice relaxing late winter, and if we were ever in a pinch and needed to harvest excess fat and protein, this system really facilitates flow and gives me an opportunity to hunt if I needed to. So there you go. Worked well, and we'll share more notes on other things as they go.